I spoke earlier with Georgia's Democratic nominee for governor, Stacey Abrams, about how Georgia voters can actually be motivated by attempts to limit their voting rights. We also discussed how the same can be true of this summer's Supreme Court decision overturning Roe v. Wade. As part of that discussion, Abrams talked about how her own thinking has evolved over time on the issue of reproductive choice. Well, surely telling people they can't vote is one way to galvanize them, right? The other is to hand down a Supreme Court decision that seems wholly at odds with where the public is at.
Absolutely.
And I'm talking, of course, about the Dobbs decision.
Absolutely.
NARAL has information out this month. More than 60% of mail-in ballots in the state of Georgia, more than 60% of those requests are from women. Requests from black women roughly equal the requests of white men, which is not traditionally how it goes in a midterm election.
No.
I mean, let's talk about abortion for a minute. There was actually a really interesting New York Times profile about you on the subject of abortion. You did not start out your life as a pro-choice person, if you will. I mean, I'm not telling you something you don't know. You know this. But for those that don't, I think that evolution is really unique in the Democratic Party at this stage. And I would love for you to explain a little bit about how you came to the position that you now hold, which is a proponent of choice.
I grew up in the deep south of Mississippi. My parents became ministers when I was in high school, but I come from a very religious family. And there was never an ostensible conversation about where we should stand, but it was endemic to the communities I was a part of that abortion was wrong. It was when I went to college, when I started meeting people who had my same faith tradition, but had a different perspective, that I really started challenging my own beliefs. And it didn't happen overnight, but it helped me reconsider conversations I had as a teenager with a friend who was grappling with the desire and the need to have an abortion. She came to me seeking guidance, but I didn't really understand what she needed from me. And in retrospect, I'm deeply saddened that I wasn't there for her. But what I know and what I learned over time was that even if my personal belief system said that I would not make that choice, my responsibility both as a citizen when I'm voting and as a legislator when I'm making decisions is that that choice belongs to a woman. It is a medical decision. It is the only medical decision that politics has decided that it should interfere with. And that to me is untenable. And so when I was getting ready to stand for office, I'd already shifted to being pro-choice, but I made myself write an essay to myself about my posture because I'm deeply nerdy in that way. And in my essay,
you were telling yourself this person is pro-choice.
Well, I was saying, how would you think about, and it wasn't just about abortion, it was a range of issues. How would you make decisions? So you would, when you're running for office, you get these different applications and the endorsement requests. And before I filled them out, I said, let's think through where you stand on issues. And abortion was top of mind for me. And when I got to the end of my essay to myself, I was very strongly pro-choice. It is wrong for the state to impose its political values on a woman's reproductive choice.
It seems really critically important that you are having that conversation with yourself, but also with voters, right?
Absolutely.
When you talk about rural voters, voters of color, looking at abortion as kind of this black and white issue that doesn't involve any evolution, as you have had, I think can be alienating to some voters. Do you see that when you're on the trail? Do you feel like telling your own personal story is useful when you're talking to voters who are themselves coming to an evolution or having an evolution on abortion?
Absolutely, because so often it's treated as a binary. Either you're right or you're wrong. What I want people to understand is you can have your personal beliefs, but you can still vote for people who can create opportunities for others to have their beliefs. That the notion of freedom and liberty, a civil liberty, is about the state not interfering with that decision. And I think because of my background, because of my empathy for those who are making that journey right now, I want them to know that I'm not castigating them for where they are. I'm here to say it's okay for you to have these conversations. It's okay to have these questions. It's okay to vote in a way that says that you may not have settled where you are, but you know it's wrong to tell others that where they are is not appropriate.